Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
I'm Jenifer Rose.
And you're listening to the midweek version of Fiber Talk, the twice-weekly podcast for needlework artists.
Yay. I know the art we saw over the weekend was magnificent.
Yes.
From Alison Cole and her husband.
Yes.
Wow.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
You know, because the casket part, for those who haven't watched it, Sunday's show was a video with Alison and Steve Cole, Steve's her husband, about a new casket that she is offering, a kit. And Steve made the box, made the casket, designed it, built it, and everything. Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And you know that. I found the how he went about making the actual wood box almost as interesting as the needlework. Maybe even more interesting because of what had to go into it. You know.
Right. Yeah, because they accounted for the size of the fabric and the paper and down to the 100th of a millimeter and.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the thing when we were recording the video, and he hauled out the empty, you know, just the plain box, and the edges overlap. I had to bite my tongue because it was like, what is that? And then I finally,
because it looks wonky.
Yeah, then I finally got an opening to ask, you know, and well, I think he actually brought it up. But yeah, it looks, the raw box, you'd expect everything to be squared up, but it can't be. Because you got to accommodate, you got to have the cloth that goes on and the stitching, and yeah, it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really awesome.
Yep. Yeah,
Very
that was
interesting.
Yeah, and then we're recording this on Tuesday. She posted a picture this morning of several ladies in her classroom setting, and you really get a sense of what a beautiful space that is. Just solid windows all the way around, and oh man.
Oh, yeah. So pretty.
Yeah, out in the woods. Yep.
Wow.
She has it knocked. Yep. Hers, and Jenny Aiden Christie in the UK, where she has the building in the back, so you walk through the English garden to the back.
Yes.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah.
That's having it knocked right there.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
Very nice.
Yep. So yeah, that was quite cool. Yeah, we've had a couple because last Wednesday, when Margaret Hagen was with us, did you know that samplers like that existed?
No.
Neither did I.
Those were really cool. No, I had not seen those before. I was like, wow, look at that.
Yeah,
those were really cool.
I was blown away. Well, right after the show, I went to the website, the Essamplaire, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
I went there, and I had to get something else done that night, and it was, this is going to suck up 2 or 3 hours going through this, so I set it aside.
No.
Holy smokes, I'd never been to that site. What an amazing collection of stuff. Wow.
I don't know if I have either. If I have, it was a long time ago, like maybe 3 or 4 years. And I probably wasn't into or looking at sampler stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard the name. Maybe I've just heard the name before and maybe looked at their Instagram or something if they have one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever, but I know the name. I just don't think I've ever been to the website.
Yeah, now see, and I know the name too. I'm with you. Yeah, I know the name, but to me it was, that's another schoolgirl reproduction sampler website, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not even close.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they're having a sale now, 20% off. So I'll be yeah, for the next 3 days there's a sale. I'm going to get a couple of charts. I'll never get them done, but I got to buy a couple. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Man, those Margaret Hagen, and then her stitching, holy smokes, is beautiful.
Yeah. Stitching was excellent.
Oh man. And those big monsters, every one is a monster.
I know, they're huge.
Just giant.
Jeez.
And then when she showed her wall just covered with samplers, oh,
I know.
Yeah.
My goodness. I have a whole stairwell that has nothing on it.
There you go.
And it doesn't get a lot of like sunlight. So like direct sunlight, there's a window up above, but there's not direct sunlight. So
yeah, perfect.
Ooh,
Yep.
I know.
Get some nails out. Let's go, Jenifer.
Yep.
Yeah. It was interesting because I find those walls, and you see it, several people have these walls of finished pieces. They don't have to be samplers. Right. And there's every time I see one, I think, all right, there's putting a few up that makes it, interior decorator, artistic, visually, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then to me, there's a middle ground where it's clutter. It's too many, and then you get enough of them, and then it becomes museum quality. I just want to stand there for hours and stare at them.
You're like, at what point do I have enough that I can put this up and it looks like that, so that it doesn't look like that sparse?
Right.
Because you're like, now I have too few, but I have to stitch a bazillion so I can get them all up so they have that big, huge wall effect.
Yeah. Then it's your jaw drops and wow, that's cool. That's
and
cool.
Then I always wonder, I'm like, okay, now how did they know how to, how did they start placing these things? And how many times have they removed things around and redone holes in the wall to make it look like that? You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So it goes through my mind. It's like, now you just had one or two to begin with. You didn't have like 30.
Yep.
So how did you get from just a couple? Like, did you have to keep rearranging? Are there a bazillion holes? How did that work?
Yeah. When they come down, how many holes are there that were covered up?
Because when they have them all, they all seem to fit together just right.
Yep.
And it's like, how did you do that without having to make the thousands of holes? Or maybe they did, and you just don't know.
Yeah, because it becomes a Tetris puzzle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like, oh man.
Yep.
I can't put that many holes in my wall.
It's a project, yeah.
Well, I have plaster walls down here now. If it was what's it? The other kind,
drywall.
Sheetrock walls.
Yeah.
But then you get so many holes. At what point does the wall start falling apart?
Yeah.
Right?
Drywall is easier to patch. Yeah, you can.
It is.
Can fix that. Plaster gets to be kind of a pain.
It is, yes.
Yeah, and when it's old plaster, it'll tend to flake and crack, and
I know. And then you have to do all kinds of things. It's like, what can I do to get this to stick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, our daughter has an old house, and it's plaster, lath and plaster walls, and I know exactly what you mean. It's like they can't do anything. You hang it up there, and that better be where you want it, because it's just
for a while. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Then they had to have the shower faucet redone, and so then the guy had to tear out a section of wall behind it that was in their hallway.
Oh.
All that. So then, you got to have a guy who can put it all back and make it blend in, where with drywall, it's no big deal. Just patch it and paint it.
Right.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that always goes through my mind with all those sampler walls. It's like, how much rearranging happened there?
And they get it, like Margaret. I mean, she has it. You could tell it's all exactly the verticals next to the horizontals, above the verticals. Right. Yeah, all that. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, because when you first have those one or two pieces, where did they put those originally? Mm-hmm. Did they have this grand plan all along, and they're just like, it'll just work? But I don't know.
No, there's no way. There had to be
I know.
Had to be several rearrangements. Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be.
I've never been in a house like that, but I don't think I'd be a very sociable person. I'd just, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I got things to look at here.
Yeah. Like, I want to look at all your stuff.
Yeah. Would you like some hors d'oeuvres? Not really. I'm fine. I'll just be over here. Yeah.
Oh
I might have a question or two if you don't mind, but other than that, leave me alone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's two, the Wednesday video and Sunday. There's two of them very much worth watching. Wow.
Yes.
And in each case, if you never do a sampler or never buy and make a casket, it doesn't matter. It's just really cool needlework.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just fun to watch and see it and to know it's out there, you know?
Yeah.
To know that somebody did it.
Because I'm not doing a casket. I'm not. But
no, I probably won't.
Yeah, I admire.
I think they're cool, but.
Yep. Yeah, I admire them to the wall. I mean, they're really neat things, and what people do with them is really cool. And I'll look at them all day long, but I'd never finish one. I just never would. Yep. Hey, I talked to. So Sunday. Speaking of that, Sunday, our guests will be Andrea Santiamo and Karen Santicola, and they're the new owners. And I think Andrea is the editor of Needlepoint Now.
Oh, right.
So
nice.
so they purchased Needlepoint Now, and they put out their first issue. So we'll have them Sunday, so we get to learn what their plans are for the magazine, and how they got to came to be the owners, and so on and so forth. So looking forward to that. Yeah.
Nice. That would be cool.
Yep. And really curious to see what they're going to do with the magazine.
Right.
Yeah. Most curious. So that'll be Sunday. I recorded yesterday a show that'll come up in a couple of weeks with Jenny White of Lucky Jonquil. Jonquil, like Jonquil, the daffodil, flower.
Right.
thing.
That's a flower, right?
Yeah. She makes, this is a new business. I learned that she just quit her old job on January 6th, so it's really new.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But she has a laser cutter. And so one of the things she's doing, she offers threads and all kinds of things. But she makes bobbins, a couple, 3 different kinds of bobbins if you do bobbin thing. And then she makes some thread drops.
So like bobbins to put your DMC and stuff on.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then thread drops. Now, some people, like I use thread drops if I'm doing samplers. So if I'm doing a sampler, then I pre-cut my thread. I pre-cut all my silk to usually 18 inches, unless it's silk mori, and then that's cut to 12 inches because otherwise it's a frayed mess. And so then I put them on thread drops, and so then I'll have a ring of thread drops for a sampler.
Right.
And then the extra skeins go in a little bag that I keep with it. But I just find that it's handy. That's the only thing I use thread drops for. Like for needlepoint stuff, you never cut your threads to any length because you don't know what length you'll need. And I'm sure for temari, there's no way you cut your threads.
No.
Yeah.
So like if you pre-cut all of your threads for your sampler, and then you go and you're like, ooh, I could reuse that thread in my needlepoint. You've already chopped it, so like it kind of ruins your continuing and mixing it with other projects, doesn't it?
Unlikely that I would use the silk thread on a needlepoint canvas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unlikely. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, because you do use the superfine stuff.
Yeah. Because I stitch on 40 count almost exclusively, and so it's single thread, and so I don't worry so much about that. No.
Okay. Well, yeah, because I was thinking, that chatelaine that I'm doing, the butterfly lace mandala by Chatelaine, that one has lots of needlepoint elements like Jessica's and all that kind of stuff on cross stitch fabric. So you do use the silks and stuff.
Right. But in that case, then, there's no way I would cut the threads.
Right.
No way. Because, Jessica stitch, you got to be able to, because I hate the length. I hate having to use 2 threads on a Jessica stitch.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I think I did it a couple times, though, and it came out fine.
I know, but I hate it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's possible, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole lot better if you just have one old long strand and get it all done. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So so Jenny White, and she makes these. I mean, it's okay. Thread drops. All you need is a piece of cardboard with a hole in it. Okay. I mean, come on, that's all you need. All right. But she makes these acrylic floss. She calls them floss swatch drops. Okay, so they're let's see. I'm holding one right in here, about 1.5 inches long by 3/4 of an inch wide, a square or rectangle with rounded corners, and they have a bigger hole in the bottom where you put your main skein. You loop your main skein in, and then they have a little slot on the side. So for those threads where you pull a thread and then you pull a couple strands out, and you don't want to, you'd like to keep that separate.
Right.
So you put those in a hole. But then the fun part is she has a grid of holes that is 5 rows by 9, 3, 6 by 9, 3, so 5 by 9 that a 26 needle fits in. And so if you want to, you can take the thread that is on that thread drop and you can do a little cross stitch pattern.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. And it works out really well. Yeah, and it's very cool. And so I was setting up, I'm going to do Botany Bay. And so I was setting up my threads for that because I wanted something mindless to do while watching football. So I was cutting threads and putting them on these floss drops, and I bought some of these from her. Right. And so I did one, and I cross stitched the thing, and then I did a running stitch. That doesn't work so well because the colors don't show up as well. Yeah, but then later on, I was thinking, wait a minute, I could do some other stitches, like needlepoint stitches, gobelins, and like you could do a satin stitch on there. You could do any number of stitches on this little grid. So it becomes just a fun thing to do. And then, and you think, oh, geez, all that work, it's not a lot of work, but, a lot of work for, like I had 21 threads for Botany Bay. And, okay, all that work for floss drop. Well, think about how long it's going to be before that sampler's finished. Long time.
And then you can reuse them.
Right.
So, and you don't have to do that stitching all at once. You could just maybe do, every time you use that color thread, do the little stitching, and that way you don't feel like, oh, I have to do all this before I even start.
Yep. Exactly.
Do it as you feel like it or whatever.
Yeah.
That's cute though.
Yeah, no, they're really terrific, and they're laser cut, so they're all, everything is just right. And I just think it's a great idea, really great idea that she came up with. If you use floss drops, and and 5 people are going to say, oh, they're so expensive. Well, of course they are. They'll last forever, so there's space to put I put artist tape on with the number of the color. You can write on it, but you have to get you have to have an alcohol-based pen to write on them. Or it won't stay. Like water-based, just rubs off. But I just think they're really cool. They're cute, and I love when you put stitch the thread in. I just think it's a really neat idea, really creative. Yeah. And it's just one of those fun things. But
and then it if you go to lots of group things, stitching camps or events, I can't think of the word right now.
Retreats?
Yeah, those. Retreats. And if you go to those, it sets your floss drops apart from other people's, you know? Yep. You're like, mine's the one that has this pattern or,
Yeah. All the cool kids. Yeah. I just thought
cool.
It's just really a neat thing. I tripped over her on Instagram. I have no idea. Just one of those things. I'm sure Instagram's algorithm feeding to me, And so I wrote to her, and she did do a show. So we'll have that in a couple weeks. But she has those, and then she took the clothespin idea to wrap floss on.
Right.
And she made an acrylic thing based on that. But they're designed for pearl cottons, heavier threads, because they're 1, 2, 2.5 inches long, something like that. But and you can write on. They're acrylic, and you can write on them. But again, a really innovative thing, but a good way to store your
pearl cottons.
Pearl cottons, and like thicker threads, like Karen threads, and those kinds of things.
Oh, cool.
And she shows them on her website. A friend of hers makes wood things for needlework, and she's made a board where she drilled holes that you can just set these in, so you can have all of yours
cute.
standing up in a row. And I mean, it's stuff. It's yeah. Do you need it? No. Is it fun? Does it make it? Does it help organize you? Yeah, it does. Yeah. So
that's right. And we like things to look cute and pretty.
Right. Yeah. So. It adds an element of fun to the stitching. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And these are really good. I mean, like I said, acrylic, they're going to last forever and hold up, and
right.
So you can keep using them. And now there's something where you put that on, wrap that on, and it stays. You mark it, and that's your color, and you put those in a drawer or whatever. But really well designed. So I just thought she was pretty innovative stuff. Yeah,
really cool. Mm-hmm. Neat.
So check her out, luckyjonquil.com. Jenny
Look forward to seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to stitch some up. I might even do a short little video so people can see them, because I just think they're cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Made me now want to look at just for a toy to get a laser cutter, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what I'd do with it, so never mind.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'll talk myself right out of it. Just looks like it'd be fun to, but she talked about learning vector files so she could program it to make the things. And there's 2 days of monkeying around.
There's a whole lot of computer stuff behind that. She's going to give you a headache, and you're going to be like, forget it.
Yep.
This is not the fun I thought it would be.
I'll just buy from her. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are some times when you're like, yeah, I could do it, but no. Yeah. I'm just going to
pass.
Buy it from the people who do want to go through the effort.
Yep. Yeah. I just like those when people come up with innovative things that make stitching more fun. It's just kind of cool. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
Yep. So.
Cool.
Yeah, so that'll be a couple weeks. We'll have Jenny White. But go there, check it out. And she's got, she has 3 or 4 bobbins. Do you put stuff on bobbins? Do you put DMC on bobbins?
I do my the cross stitch floss. I do.
Yeah. And
I always have. I love it. I tried the floss drop thing. No, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
At all. But my Pearl 5, that I use for temari, what I do is you pull off the tab that doesn't have the numbers.
Right.
And then you hold on to one end and keep the tab that has the number on, and you pull the other end out so that it makes the big long skein with the tag still on.
Right.
And then you separate it with your fingers gently so you have a big kind of open loop, big loop. And then you just cut the little end, just the tie where they have the knot tied.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just keep it on there, and I very gently tug one of the little ends and see which one comes easily. And I just pull it out like that, keeping it all on the loop and in the tag. And then I just fold it in half to store it and put it in my thing. And then any extras that I have, like, if I have extra length left over that's still usable, I just fold it over and slip it underneath the tag.
Okay.
And I store them in a like a Tupperware type thing.
Okay. So it stays in the skein hoop,
yes,
or the little piece of paper.
Yeah. Right, that has the number.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's how I do those for temari, because it's just the easiest way. And I think that putting those on a bobbin make them so fat and cumbersome and difficult to store somewhere.
Yeah.
And I can pack a lot in this little tiny thing. I mean,
right.
You can squish them down.
Because they're effectively flat. Well, that's what I liked about Jenny's bobbins. They're long enough that you don't get this big fat ball wrapped around.
Right.
It. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, that because see now if I have pearl cotton, then I'll open up the skein to get the big loop and cut it like you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just fold it and I put it in a floss away bag or a little sandwich bag.
Right.
and store it that way. And then I'll just, like, I take both of the pieces of paper off, and then I'll just throw the one with the numbers into that bag.
Oh, okay.
But I can see how yours would be. Yours would be a much more space efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially with temari, because you're pulling out lots of colors.
Right.
And you need to be able to see them, and then you can even like just take a little length and loop them together like the single strands. Because you know how sometimes in the big blob of the big skein, the color is stronger than if you have just one or two threads of it.
Yeah.
And you put it down, then the color shows up differently. So
right.
you have to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So it makes it easy to do that. And but I do put my like I have some silks for a few projects that I do silks on, which isn't a whole lot, but I have a few, and those do go in floss away bags, the silk, because silk rubbing and stuff, it's sensitive.
Yeah, you have to be careful with silks. So, keep them so they're not getting jostled around a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those go in floss away bags, and then I hook them all on one of those ring thingies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the ring thingies, I'm going to the hardware store because I went to Lowe's. We're doing a house project, and so I had to go to Lowe's, and I thought, well, I'm going to get some big key rings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the biggest they had was like 1.5 inches. Well, that's not big enough at all.
Right.
And then they had, there's the ones that are little like thin cable that then you put them together and you screw there's a little knurled end that screws on.
Right.
And the ones they had were small, but I'm headed to Ace Hardware because I think I would prefer to get those cabled things because they're flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to see about that.
Yeah.
Instead of those metal rings.
Yeah, the metal rings I always get at Joann or Hobby Lobby or whatever. They just have them right there by all the stitchy stuff.
Oh, okay.
They sell a little pack of like 3.
Okay.
And that's where you get them.
Oh, maybe I'd be better off there. Well, I'm going to Ace and see. Yeah.
Well, yeah, check and see, and then if not, go to even probably Michael's probably has them. I think they're DMC.
Oh, okay.
Next to where they have the cardboard bobbins.
Right. Yeah, those things. Yeah. No thanks.
Well, that's what I use now. Because
the little cardboard things, really.
Yeah. DMC used to make some fantastic plastic bobbins. Actually, it was Darice. The company was called Darice, Darice, and they made magnificent bobbins. They're exactly like the little cardboard ones, exactly. And they even have like the identical to the plastic ones. And then with the
little ears on each corner?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were sharp, and they went all the way to the edge. Then what they did is they changed the bobbin to where you hook the little thread in. It doesn't meet up tight, and it's all curved, and the thread doesn't stay in at all.
Oh.
And they're terrible. And so I started buying the cardboard ones, which hold up fantastic. You just don't be rough with them. Yeah. But they do exactly. But I still have like some of my original thread from back in the day when I first started stitching has the Darice bobbins that the plastic goes all the way. And sometimes the plastic, it wouldn't be cut all the way through. So you had to take your scissors and finish cutting the slit. Or there'd be a little edge of plastic, which you just shave off, I don't know if they got complaints about that. People are whining. So they got a product that's now inferior, in my opinion. And I don't buy them anymore. Yeah. So. Yeah. And now I buy the cardboard ones.
See, I don't know what the brand is, but it's a plastic bobbin. They're larger in size.
Right.
And they have slits on the bottom, but I have a truckload of those. And so I just use those. Mm-hmm. But some people, a lot of people don't like bobbins because they think it creases the thread.
It does, but when you stitch, it's not a problem. I mean, and when you get towards the middle and the creases get tighter, it does make it tangle a little bit more. But I found if you hold you pull your thread off and it squiggles and then you take the other one, you put it away, and then you take the thread that you pulled out, hold it in the middle, and let each side hang down and let it untwist and get the squiggles out. Then you grab the two ends together and, you go from there. And it's got the bends and stuff, but as long as you let it pre-untwist before you start stitching, I don't have a problem with it. And it can be a little fussy, but not much, not enough to make me go, oh, I'm not doing this,
Yeah. And see it, and I've never, ones that I have creases in, when you stitch, I've never had it be an issue.
No, it doesn't show at all.
Not show up. But then I wrap the bobbins quite loosely.
Oh, I wrap mine tight.
Yeah, see, I wrap mine loose, and then so I don't really even have a crease, so I don't even think about it.
I wrap them tight because I want it all to stay, and I want it to fit. Because I can pack like 8 or more in one of those little square box slots,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I pack them in there.
No, I wrap them loose, so I get kind of a puffy semi-ball, but that's okay. Doesn't bother me. Yeah.
No, I do it tight.
It's interesting. It'd be fun to get 30 stitchers in a room. Yeah. Okay. Everybody show how they deal with, bring all the ways you deal with floss and threads. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. You could, oh man, that would be everything under the sun.
Oh yeah. Everybody be like, no, you got to do it like this. No, you got to do it like this.
Yep. Well, isn't that the thing though? Everybody has their way and they swear by it and they're not moving off of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with your personality, I think. A lot to do with your personality. I'm very tightly wound.
Yeah, now there's a psychology study comparing how people deal with their threads, organize their threads, and their personalities. I bet that's a matchup across the board. Yep.
Yep.
No question. Yeah.
You're neurotic and tightly wound. Yes, I am.
Yeah, I am.
You?
Yeah. Just put your threads out. I'll tell you what kind of person you are. Yep.
Isn't that funny?
So it's interesting. I do the bobbins, but that's the only thing I bobbin is like DMC or Cosmo, 6-stranded threads, those things. And I take them right off the skeins. I think what turned me off on the skeins was I never was taught which end to pull.
Oh.
And I dealt with so many tangles that, and then, then I read or saw or whatever, here's the end to pull. Oh, that's so easy. But in my mind, it was no matter what, it's going to tangle on me. So I just undo it. Yeah.
So one thing, I'm doing that temperature chart. Yeah. And I bought the floss pack from Fat Quarter Shop. And I am leaving all of those in the bag in the skeins. And what I'm doing, and I'm leaving all the tags on, everything on. I'm pulling just enough out because it's just a little 5-stitch cross each day. And I'm not carrying threads or anything. I'm just completing each one each day. So I know how much I need to pull off to double over to make it and to have enough to tie off comfortably and not leave a lot of waste. So I'm pulling out just that amount from the skein, cutting it off, and then I pull off my little single thread and I stitch with it, and then I take the extra like I do with the Pearl 5 and I fold it in half and I tuck it up in that little band that doesn't have the number on.
Okay.
And I'm keeping it, and that's what I'm doing with those. I'm not bobbinating them. I'm not even taking them out of the bag. That's how I'm doing that project, which is totally different for me. But it's nice and tidy and in control.
So it fits you. Yes.
It does, right?
Are you enjoying that project? It looks like a really cool idea.
Yeah, and I'm keeping up because it's just 5 little stitches. Yeah. And every 4 or 5 days, and I keep track. It's got this awesome chart in it where it has each month with the number of days, and it has, you put the temperature, and then you put the corresponding number of the floss, the color, right? So you don't have to go back and forth. So then when you're ready to stitch 3 or 4 or 5 days, you just pull out your little chart, and you're like, 1 is this temperature, and it's that number, and you just stitch it. It's so easy, and you check it off. And then because I got the downloadable chart, so I have it in my iPad in my books.
Okay.
So I can write on it, you know? So then each time I finish a day, I'll take and I'll write on the little square that I did which number of day that was. Like, this is 1, 2, 3, and I write on it so that way I know where I'm at in the chart also.
Yeah.
And each month in the chart, like, they have different colors and different symbols, so it's all mapped out for you really well. And yeah, I really like it. It's easy to keep up with. It's fast little, you know, oh, I've got 10, 15 minutes. I'll just stitch that up real quick. And
okay.
Yeah, I've been keeping up. I'll finish. Today's the 31st because, you know, we're taping a day early.
Right.
So I will record today's temperature later tonight and probably stitch it and then do a picture with all of January.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, yeah. It's been fun.
That's cool. You know, and I've seen those before, but I think this one, to me, is the most approachable. The others just look like, oh, I'll never keep up, so I'm not even going to start. But
and I tried another one, and it was just too much stitching. And then there's lots of pre-prep work. This one, you don't even have a pre-grid you have to stitch.
Okay.
You know, you just stitch the 5 little, it's just a little tiny plus sign.
And what do you use them for ground cloth?
What did I pick? 18 count.
Okay. Ada?
Ada.
Okay.
I think I am using just the white 18 count Ada. Oops.
Okay, so even that is simplified. So it's, yeah, the hole.
Right.
The holes are obvious. Just make your X's and move on. Yeah.
Yeah, 18 count Ada.
Okay. Wow.
So, because I have lots.
So the barrier to stitching is very, very low here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very, yeah. And what I did is I put in my X and my Y, you know, axes that I do, and I counted out to the first one. So that way I know it's exactly centered on my piece of fabric.
Okay.
So that's how I did it. Because everything has to be exactly centered on the fabric. I can't stitch any other way. It just won't work for me. Very structured over here.
I'm getting that sense, yes.
Yes.
That's cool. No, it's a neat project, yeah. I just wondered how you were keeping up, so.
Yeah, keeping up, and it's fun. I like it.
It'll be really neat at the end of the year to see, you know, be able to look back and see the temperature variations all through the year.
Yeah, and I think what I'm going to do is like make it into a little pillow or ornament, and I think on the back side is where I'll put, you know, Hamden, Connecticut, the year, and I will probably stitch the little grid of all the colors and what temperature ranges they are, and have that on the back side.
Okay. And
make like a little pillow.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? You know, frame it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So you think about that. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this, but then what?
Right.
What's the purpose? What's going to happen to it? And I'll make it like a little pillow or an ornament or something, and you just stick it in a little bowl for decorating. Looks cute. Why
not? Yep.
Yeah.
Because see, I was, you know, this is weird, but I was thinking about you in that project the other day. And for instance, here in St. Louis, last night it got down to 9. And then by the weekend, it's going to be in the 50s.
Right.
And so, you know, there's a color variation if you ever, you know, I mean, that's pretty extreme. And a lot of people are experiencing that this winter, these extremes. And so you get these wide range of colors. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. Yeah.
Well, like the next couple days, well, it'll be at the beginning of February, so it'll be at the other end of the heart, but it's, you know, January was all the same colors because it was the same temperature all month long. But we're going to go from the mid 40s, which is abnormal, to down to like 20s, teens.
Yeah.
For like 2 days. And then it's going to go back up to the 40s.
Right.
So I'm going to have some like blues, dark blues down there, and then green again.
No, see, that's what I mean is, exactly that. You get these weird extreme changes. And so then, you know, how that stitches out will be fun to see. Yeah. Yeah.
Fun to see the variation and stuff.
Yep.
You can go, oh, look, there's that spot where we had those 2 freaky cold days, you know?
Yep. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm keeping up. It should be easy to keep up with. And the way they have those little temperature, they have these little columns with January and all the numbers, and you
Mm-hmm.
just fill in the spots. So if you don't get a chance to stitch it all at once, you can just go in. And then I found like a website, localconditions.com or localweather.com or something. Let's see. What is it? I can look. Localconditions.com. And
Okay.
I did for Hamden, Connecticut, and so like say I missed the temperatures for the past couple days, I can go there and I can click on the little thing and it'll tell me the high yesterday was 53.6. So I'll say 54.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So that's the other thing is you're drawing from the same source for all your temperatures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm doing Hamden. I'm not doing Hartford because it's different temperature up there.
Right. Right.
Like a big different temperature sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
I live down on the coast, and that's up in the middle.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
Connecticut can have.
Well, once you get along water, things get weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So down on the coast, we have very different weather than the middle of the state, or even up north in the Litchfield Hills. It's like two completely different climates sometimes. Yeah. So.
That's very cool. Yeah, and it sounds like it's one of those where you could. You have everything you need, so you could do it again next year without having to make a whole new purchase. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm even thinking about like doing last year's.
Oh, okay.
Like let's do last year and doing. We've lived here 15 years. Just do all of them.
Yeah, go nuts. Yeah. More power to you. Yep.
All right, that's a little crazy, but Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself now. We're down here to the end of January, and I have stitched every day. I've missed 2 days.
Wow, good job.
That is, that's some kind of a world record for me.
Yeah, because the magazine and all that stuff.
Yep. But no, I have, and a lot of the days it's been, hour-long sessions or whatever.
Nice.
And I'm really making progress. It's been fun. And I'm even counting like over the weekend. I mean, I sat and did football, but I was monkeying with floss and do these floss drops. I'm counting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that counts because that's prep work.
Right.
And sometimes prep work takes a while.
Yeah, and it did, but yeah. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm making a lot of progress. I want to get the Sarah Parr sampler that's about 2/3 done. I'm about finished, and then I have the last band, which is a big fat band, and then I'll be finished. So, next week, no problem. No, it'll be 2 months from now. But I'm switching back and forth. So I set up the Lady Mary geometric from Gay and Rogers. And then I got this sampler out, and I'm just switching back and forth. So I'll stitch a few days on the sampler, and then I'll go back to Lady Mary, and I'm just switching back and forth and keeping it going. And so far, so good. Yep.
Nice. And you've got it like set out where it's easily accessible. You don't have to do a bunch of pre-prep before you sit and stitch. Nope. And
they're both set up, so exactly that. I sit down and go.
Awesome.
Yep. And I always start the next thread
right
when I quit. So it's there. I sit down and I go. And
I know I do that too, and that's how it ends up. Like, oh, I ended up doing this whole section. I didn't mean to. I was just going to start the thread.
Yeah, there was a day. Right now. I'm working on the sampler, and Margaret had dinner ready, and it was. I'll be down in just a minute. I had this little bird. I had to finish this bird before we had dinner. So yeah.
Urian comes and warns me. 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So start ending and being prepared because he knows.
Yep. Get yourself wrapped up. Yep.
Don't start a new section.
So we need a temari update. So you've got the sunshine one that you're still working on that. Yep.
Yes, I'm still working on my sunflower because I missed a couple classes because I was either sick, a little headache, and then one time we were out of town. And so now the patterns for all the sunflower is done. So now temari class is new stuff. And we started this new one. It's a 2-part class, so the second class is in a couple weeks. But the first part, we stitched some camellias, and then the second part will be like stars around the camellias, and then inside this little area you stitch snowflakes. And the balls that the teacher showed were all like on dark balls. And thread, so that the snowflakes, she did them in white, like that snow. Oh. The snow and stuff, right. She did them in white. But I wanted I had a white ball already made. So I was like, and then I've been stitching the stuff with, the housewife stuff, where decorating for winter, like going away from Christmas and going into winter decorating. Mm-hmm. It's all white and blue. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do the white ball, and I'm going to do a white flower, and then light gray outlining with, I had that Petite Treasure braid, the turquoise color from a cross stitch I did earlier. One of those biscornus, that little winter biscornu that had the snowflake on it. I used that, and I was like, and then I'll use that stuff for the snowflakes. So it'll be a winter. It'll be like white and turquoise. And it's looking really pretty so far.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Now is that as big as the?
No, this is like a 5.5-inch ball.
Oh, okay.
That other one's like 12 or 13.
That's a monster.
Yeah.
But it is so cool.
Yeah. So I've got to finish getting my camellia flowers stitched before a couple weeks, like 2 more Saturdays. So I've got to get in there and do some more. I did some right after the class when I got home. I stitched a bunch more. Yeah. But I've got like half to do. There's like a lot.
Yeah.
12 or 20. I don't know. There's a lot. So.
Those things are the coolest. They're just the coolest thing on the planet, those tamaris. Really.
They are.
Well, and the teacher that you have.
Robin, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so creative. Mm-hmm. Every one of them that you've done has just been really visually striking. Yeah. Yeah, they are super pretty. Yeah. And I really like them. And it's so cool that the group of you get together and do that. That's
yeah. We all get together, and then sometimes between classes we'll get together and work on them too.
Oh, okay.
So. Because most of them are retired and stuff, so they don't work. Yeah. So, and then I don't have a job, so. Okay.
No, I just think that's really neat that group that group of ladies. You have this. You have a really great teacher, creative, and challenging, and then you have this group of friends too. I think it's the neatest thing. Yeah.
She's grown that group for it's been 8 years, 10 years. And I've only been in the last 4 years. And, the pandemic adds you have this 2-year gap, it seems like, but it's been 4 or 5 years that I've been with them. And they all started back when Robin first moved here, and she came into Thistle and Nancy was working there, and they got talking, and she was like, oh, I could get, at first, Robin was just going to Nancy's house and doing classes with her.
Oh, okay.
And then she got some people together, and then they moved it to the store. And then when the pandemic hit, we moved it out of the store, and we haven't moved it back to the store.
Oh, okay. So, I thought you were always meeting at someone's house. So.
No, we used to meet at the store.
Okay.
At Thistle, but then pandemic hit, and we had to move it.
Yeah.
And we've just kept it that way. It works really well.
Do you always meet at someone's house, same person, or you move it around?
Yeah. Usually our friend Janice, she's centrally located in the state where everybody can get to her.
Oh, okay.
Other people's houses are too far one way or too far another way, and then it takes you over an hour to get there.
Yeah.
Where this is like half an hour for just about everybody, because she's right in the middle.
Quite doable. Yeah, and I suppose you got to have a place where there's enough space for something like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's enough space. We squeeze. We get cozy. But it works just fine. And then Michelle, we did the show with Michelle.
Yeah.
She moved to Virginia or West Virginia. Yeah, but so she joins us on Skype every week.
Oh, that's cool.
So she still does, because back when they very first started, it was like super beginner. I mean, like the instructions, I guess, too, were like really, really beginner.
Mm-hmm.
And she's grown them to the point where they've gotten more advanced.
Right, right.
And so now everybody pretty much knows what they're doing, and Michelle's really good, so she can figure it out, and Robin can help her a little on the video, but she's basically, good to go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the other cool thing is because what you guys do these days, I mean, that's not simple beginner stuff at all,
Yeah.
from what I can tell. I mean, so
No.
you've grown through the years. I just think it's so cool that this group of ladies has advanced this stitching technique.
Yep.
Yeah, this neat thing. Yeah.
Yep. I squeezed in there. I kept being like, need a beginner class, need a beginner class. And finally, she did one, and like Nancy took it again. And I think maybe to like fill out the beginner class so that she could do the beginner class,
Right, right.
So, but yeah, I finally got in, and Robin was like, yeah, you can come, but if you fall behind, we're not going to wait. I'm like, I'm fine. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Yeah, this group of ladies has advanced to this level. You either keep up or bow out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, I do fine. I'm good with the spatial. Temari's very structured. I do very well with structured things. So.
Right up your alley. Yep.
It is. Oh. All these, you have all these artists on that do all this, I just wing it and stuff. That's just not me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I can't, it's just not what I like.
Right.
I like structure.
Yeah.
I've winged it a couple times. It's okay. But I like structure. Like, that's my thing.
Yeah.
It's what I want.
Yep.
Makes me comfortable. And I don't want to get out of that comfortable spot because I like it.
Hey, yeah, you're entitled. This is your hobby that you enjoy. So you
really
do it the way you want.
artistic people. I like that they just do all this free stuff. I'm like, that's awesome. And I'll just stick to my structure.
Yeah. Well, hey. Yep. There was there's a cycling guy down in Florida who owns a bike shop, and he does these short things on Monday mornings. And he does a nice job, but he lost his mentor. His bike mentor died recently, and it was the kind of thing where he had learned from this guy how to build and repair and maintain bikes, and then he bought a shop, and then his mentor came to work for him because he was retired and something to do, and so he came to work for him, and he died. So it was just a nice little memorial thing. But it got me thinking, in the stitching world, how many people have mentors? Do you have someone that is your go-to person for stitching? And like for you, maybe the closest is the temari teacher?
Yeah, if I had... Yeah, or my friends, or you go to a shop, but I'm pretty self-contained, and I do a good job of figuring stuff out on my own.
See, I figured I figured that's where you were at. Yeah.
That's just how I've always been. I mean, it just, but if I do have questions, I'll go ask somebody at a shop. I'll go to the store and ask people at the store, or ask now that I have my stitchy friends, because before I didn't have stitchy friends, it was just me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, we talk about stuff, but before that, I was pretty good at figuring it out on my own.
Yeah. So. See, and I don't have anyone either. But I think that is a function of being a male in a 99.9% female world.
Oh, okay.
Where I've just had to figure it out myself, and I'm okay doing that. I mean, I'm one of those people that, how do you do something? I go read a book or read a whatever and figure it out. I mean, I've always been that way, so I don't mind. But I've never had, I mean, there are people that same for you, have offered guidance, or I know I can go to if I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
But usually before I even bother to do that, I figure it out myself.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
Like I've just always been that way. I like to put together the furniture. I have no problems reading the IKEA instructions.
Right.
Like it's not a problem.
Yeah, see, and that's the way I've always been too.
Yeah.
Just give me the instructions, a couple diagrams, I'll figure it out and make it work. Yeah.
It's funny, like I've been this way since I was little. My dad, he always did the construction, the homes, so building houses and stuff. So he always had, I guess he was out, I was maybe 3 or 4. I was young, maybe 3, 2.5, 3, and he was working in the garage on something and I was out there. So he gave me a little ball peen hammer, a brick, and some nails. And apparently, after a little while, he turns around and I hammered all the nails all the way in to the brick. All of them. Yeah. So I've been like this since I was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if that doesn't say tedious cross stitcher in the future, I don't know what does,
Yeah, that's persistence there. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently he was just like, oh my God, I can't believe she, like, not just part all the way in.
What are we raising here? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it's, it's interesting. And it'd be interesting to talk to someone who has, like this bike shop guy, has a mentor that, for years has been your go-to person, your guide. It'd be interesting to talk to somebody who has that. Cause I've just never had it. I've just figured out on my own. And, but I truly believe that is more a function. Maybe I would have had a mentor, though I doubt it. I tend to just figure things out. But just, male, always conscious of of sideways glances and stuff. So I don't, because I never made a big deal of my needlework till I reached some age where I'm old enough. I really just don't care what you think.
Right.
But like when you're younger, because my
like
dad,
when I was younger, I'd like ask my parents, like my mom for sewing.
Yeah.
And for crochet, when I was first teaching myself to crochet, I was doing it totally wrong. So it's like turn. I'm like, it is turning. It's like, no, flip it front to back. But, and then my dad for, because I do a lot of my own homework and stuff. So I'd ask them, like, I guess my parents.
Yeah.
But once I got up, like now with like stitching, and I figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. Just give me a chart. Give me a chart and some basic instructions. I'll figure it out.
I've always been good at reading instructions and stuff.
Yeah.
I was always good at taking tests,
Yep.
I was good at reading the instructions, following the directions.
Yeah, and I wonder about it. It's interesting to see how things work because I've always been a book reader. And
yeah, me too.
Love to read, imagination, good comprehension. Comprehension has never been an issue for me.
No.
And for some, because everybody learns different. For some people, reading a book is just no help at all.
Right.
It just doesn't work. But you show them, and they're off and running.
Everybody's brain works differently, is wired differently.
Yep. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd all just be the same. It'd be boring.
Right. That was when I was teaching school. That was one of the things I really enjoyed in the early weeks of every year was identifying how each of the students learned.
Right.
And then, once you get that down, then you can approach the class, the teaching becomes a whole different thing.
Right.
Because now, all right, this kid over here, I got to go over with everything we do, every lab experiment or whatever. I need to go to that kid over there and show them.
Right.
Because the lab instructions are meaningless. And so you go over, show them, and then bingo, the light goes on and off they go. And
right.
Yeah, you got to figure all that out. And we don't change. We don't change as we get older. No. I've always been this way. Yep. No, we don't. No, adults are just older kids. That's all it is.
I think I've read or heard somewhere that your core personality is basically set by the time you're 2.
That's probably true.
Like, you are who you are, pretty
Yeah.
much at the core by the time you're 2.
Probably true. Yep.
Those young, it might have even been while I was working in daycare and taking a few, like, you'd get training.
Yeah.
And because I worked with the little ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just absorb so much in those early years. And
yep. Yeah.
And everybody, they each have their own little personalities, and they are strong.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. No, it's an interesting thing. Yeah. And you don't change. If you're a visual learner, you're always a visual learner. And you'll people will try. I'll try to read these instructions, but unless there
you can
are
get
good
better.
Pictures, yeah,
but you can improve, but you're still at the core.
Right.
There's the core of you.
Yeah.
Try to improve on the other things.
If there's good pictures along with all that text, I'll figure it out. Yeah, but if there aren't, if it's just solid text, dead in the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I don't even need the pictures. Yep. Just give me the text. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time, I can do both though.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to have it all.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
That's the best.
It does help. Yeah.
Yeah. But I can definitely do it from just one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder about today's kids who learn everything off of YouTube.
Yeah. I don't even know.
But YouTube, like for me, if I'm doing something around the house, some kind of, interior maintenance or repair or remodel or something. I mean, I have the basics because I learned from my dad. I was his go fetch it person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned from my dad the basics. And we had a really old house and he was always working on it. And so, wiring, plumbing, whatever. But where YouTube is so useful is to, all right, so for instance, plumbing a sink.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's watch 4 or 5 videos on the topic because you pick up the little tips.
Yeah, and you have to watch different ones.
Right.
And then one little tip I picked up from one was like a big, ridiculous, I'm like, what? It's a big mistake. And I had to, whole problem.
Yeah. But you do these guys who do it for a living and then, that little trick, that's excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where needlework, like taking classes for most people, I think that's where the classes pay off is the little tricks you learn or the things you forgot that come out in a class. And that's where it really has value, unless you're a beginner or never done it before and it's all new. But for most, there's a little, there's a great trick. Yeah. And everybody has them. Everybody has something. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wonder, we'll have to talk to Beth and Cindy. I wonder if they, I think Beth's one of those. I just figured out. Yeah. I don't know about Cindy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have to find out. Yeah.
That's more of the free spirit. She can just kind of go.
Yeah.
More. Like,
she can. Yeah. Yeah.
Where I'm like, I can a little. But it's still in a very structured way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beth has that more artist.
Yeah, she does. Artist mentality.
Yeah. Branch out, go for it. Yeah.
I'm technically good. Artistically, I can do what other people can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I've created a few things, just a few, where I'm like, yeah, I that all came out of my brain. That's cool. It's artistic-y for me. Mm-hmm. But not a ton. I'm not. No, yeah. I'm a reproducer. You show me what to do and give me instructions, and I'll do it. Awesome.
Yeah, but you'll take that. Okay, yeah, you do that well, but then you'll take that like with colors. You have an artist in you with colors.
I can do colors well. Yeah.
You'll change them up because you don't like them. See.
Mm-hmm. And I don't freak out over it. I'm pretty I'm comfortable with colors. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, and I struggle with that. Of course, I have
Right.
always struggled with color, but
Well, yeah, because you're colorblind too. So I mean,
doesn't help.
it's not
Yeah,
all your fault. But still.
It was so funny. There was, when I was getting the Botany Bay ones together, Kim Young had put together a list of Cosmo threads for me for that thing. They didn't all match up, so there's some DMC, but there was one that was missing, and I ordered it. But I thought, I'm part of this Cosmo Thread Club at Sassy Jack's, so I must have something close.
Oh,
Okay, so I got out my DMC thread card, and then I got out all my Cosmo threads, and it was a green. Of course, it was a green,
Oh,
Okay, so I got everything out, all the greens, all right? And this is what I deal with.
the green's your kryptonite, huh?
So greens and reds. So I went to Margaret. I said, all right, this is the DMC color I got to match here on the card, okay? Which of these is closest? And there were like 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I laid them out. She did it like a tenth of a second. She says, well, this one's red, so this one's...
Oh, no.
I said, what?
Oh,
and I had
no.
really studied them because I didn't want to look like an idiot, But I mean, this one's red, so this is out. And I said, what are you talking about? And I went over to the window. Sure enough, it was a red. But see, that's what I deal with. That's what I deal with. It was like, okay, yeah, it's a red. I can see it now.
Oh, my gosh.
But that's what I have to, If she hadn't said it was a red, it was just that much of a non-red that it looked green to me, and it was like, but immediately, I mean, well, this is red, this is out, so now let me look at the rest of these. Like,
oh no,
get your garbage out of here, and now I'll look at the greens.
Oh my gosh! But see, you don't let it stop you though. You're like, I'm still stitching.
No, I don't know. I'm not going to stop. Yeah.
No. Nope.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that's
okay.
funny though.
There I am once again. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah.
Everybody has their thing.
I guess. Well, that's mine, and proud of it. I guess. I might as well
that's
be.
That's right. Just own it.
Yep. Might as well. Yep. All right. That's enough.
All right.
No stitch hour tonight. Now, remember we're on the new schedule, so no stitch hour tonight. Next week we'll have the stitch hour, but not this midweek show, and we'll just have a stitch and chat with whomever shows up. And
think of all the stitching we'll have to show.
I know.
That's one of the kind of the cool things by skipping every other week. We actually have stuff to progress.
I got stuff to show. Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
First in a long time. Yep.
For sure.
So, all right, and then we'll have Andrea and Karen from Needlepoint Now on Sunday. Don't miss that, and go back and watch last Wednesday's show with Margaret Hagen to see some unbelievable samplers, unbelievable stitching. And then Jenny White, Lucky Jonquil, have fun with organizing stuff. Yes. All right. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Bye.